Welcome back to another episode of the Randy Wilson Podcast. I'm your host, Randy Wilson. This is podcast episode 100 and something. I don't know. I don't remember. I don't know. Okay. We've been doing it for a while and we've been gone for a while also. You know, Mo, it's interesting that people recognize when you're gone. People recognize when you're not consistent. But I've been podcasting this show for like 4 years, and some of those people who recognize I've been missing haven't really been engaged, and I'm talking about them right now. I'm talking about them, okay?
They know
But
who they are.
they know who they are. But hey, for all of you who tune into the podcast, thank you. I appreciate those who've been in my inbox lately wondering like when is the next episode coming, and I got some coming. Okay, today I'm going to introduce you to someone that you may be familiar with or you may not be. Morgan Stewart, who goes by Mo, who's a soulful vocalist, performer, and teacher, originally from Richmond, Virginia. I'm going to get into her bio. Before I get into talking about Mo, I want you to subscribe to the show. I want you to follow the show. I want you to go follow the Muse Mo on Instagram, learn more about my guest, and continuing to just rock with what we're doing here. Virginia's podcast for the culture, from the culture, being powered through Spin 100 FM. Shout out to the big heavy hitter, DJ Lonnie B, for allowing to continue us to push our show. So before I get into our guest today, we're having just very much a casual conversation. Let me share with you how I became familiar with this artist. I was at Mona Lounge. This is on the west end of Richmond in the Short Pump area, an area where I don't really frequent too much, to be honest with you. I'm not a big fan of Short Pump, and I'm not a fan of Broad Street. I'm not a fan of parking, the traffic. And to be honest with you, I'm not a fan of cigars. But on this day, I was sitting with my boss and a couple business folks. And I got to tell you, I was just delighted to be in the space and hear the wonderful voice of Morgan Stewart. And I mean that. Okay. Let me tell you how much I mean that though. Morgan, like I have a background in music. Okay. Like a lot of people are not as familiar with it, but I have a background in music. I used to sing a tune or two. And I feel very confident in like having an ear for talent and knowing talent. I know a little something. And when I heard you perform, I was impressed. I felt rude to be in a place having conversation while you were singing, and I wasn't familiar with you, and it was a beautiful surprise. And so it just made me curious to go get on Instagram and to figure out who you were and what you're doing. And granted, I didn't hit the tip jar. But I figured the best thing I could do was to dig in and explore and try to bring more attention to who you are and what you're doing. And by the way, this podcast is everywhere podcasts are played. You can also go to randywilsonpodcast.com if you're tuning in and listening, or you can go over to YouTube and you can see Mo. Okay. I'm going to call her Mo because that's easier for me. But her name is Morgan Stewart, and I'm going to get into her bio, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that night and kind of learn who Morgan Stewart is. Morgan Stewart is a soulful vocalist, performer, and teacher originally from Richmond, Virginia. She's been performing professionally for over 10 years and teaching voice and piano for over 8 years. A large part of her musical knowledge stems from her time at Berklee College of Music and her Bachelor of Arts degree in music from VCU. Her parents are also professional musicians, which led to her being raised in a musically rich environment with many lessons about the music business. In 2013, she opened her own music school and has been teaching ever since. Mo is a part of a handful of local musical groups and performs weekly all over the world. She is a professional songwriter, producer, as well as 2 original singles out now. Mo studies all facets of music and is excited to help her students create their own musical path, custom to their journey and previous experiences. And that's the bio on Mo. But here she is in real life. What's up, Mo? How you doing?
Hello. That was great. I love it.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. Your people wrote it up for me, and so I was able just to read it. I had to get with Mo's team, by the way, to get this information facts. But nah, Mo. Yeah. Listen, we have to we have to listen, people, we have to create the vision and the atmosphere for what we want people to
Oh,
believe.
mm-hmm.
I
I
got
agree with it.
I got dreamers and people who fantasize over here. So I mean, we're gonna find that middle ground with them all. But
Yeah,
Mo, you really are a talent, Mo.
I just appreciate you for all these kind words and just these awesome compliments. I'm really grateful that my voice caught your ear. But to be honest, I'm a very spiritual person. And so when anybody tells me that, I always say, it wasn't me. It was God, because I ask him before I sing to reach out to who needs it, and to bring the people to me that need to be sung to, because I totally believe in healing through vibration. And even if I'm singing Britney Spears or something, I have a loving and healing intention in that tone that I'm trying to produce there. So that's what you were feeling.
I believe it.
The
I
spirit.
believe it. I mean, I think the thing to me about you is that I listened to you sing you covered so many different songs. And when you covered them, you covered them. Like you covered them to the extent that you sounded. I mean, I definitely heard your voice. I heard it's you singing, obviously, but you did a really good job at mimicking to some degree kind of how a person may have originally heard the song, particularly the Alicia Keys cover, Fallen.
She's a big influence for me. So I have studied her a lot, especially as I was molding my voice as a, under preteen and teenager. Songs in the key of A minor was on a constant rotation for me. So
Yeah.
I feel like I can do her voice. There's few people I can do their voice pretty well. And it's not that I'm trying to copy them. As a teacher, I always say, it's your tool bag. You're learning to mimic, because that's what my teachers taught me, to mimic, to reproduce, and then instead of eat it and regurgitate it, to digest it and put it out in your own experience with your
Yeah. Yeah. I
stuff.
mean, it was apparent to me like all the songs are great, but I think that by the time you got to that song, it seemed to me that it wasn't just singing words. Like you could feel the conviction. You could feel in that song that like it meant something to you. And to me, kind of the spiritual piece, I guess, with what you said, it kind of came through that as a listener, as a consumer of music, as a critic, like stuck. Like if it meant something to you, it meant something. It began to mean something to me. Like I gotta find out who this person is. And like there's a lot of people who inbox me and ask about how you can be on the show. And you listen, in 2023, I'm done telling lies. Okay, I'm done telling lies. I'm done. Listen,
Just put it out
I just want to talk to people that I want to talk to. Okay, and I want
there.
to talk to people who inspire me at this point, and it's compelling. And that's what I got from your voice. Clearly a talent. And this isn't just talent here. I mean, there's a lot of training obviously that's been put into your voice. You're educated. You know what I'm saying? You've been going to school. You come from a family of voices, it sounds like. And the one thing with me that I just try to make sure that I'm giving recognition and praise in the areas that I feel like it's deserving. And we can share that and giving it to God, because God has definitely blessed you with a gift. And it looks like you're gifting your talents to other young people or old people or whomever who wants to come through
Yeah,
your
all
school.
ages, all ages. I teach piano, a little bit of production, and then voice. And there's some kids that don't want to be there. But everybody gets shoved into a music lesson at some point in their life, whether they're talented or not. Usually their parents and they're like, try it out. And
Mhm.
so with the piano, especially, that's what you get. But it's really amazing to me. And I do love being a teacher, to be able to watch people not only become better musicians, they, especially when you're using your voice, they become different people. Like I've had women, and it's more consistent with like late 30s to 50s, these women who've worked in corporate, they're they loved music in high school. They were good at it. And then they had to put it down and they had to go be mom, wife, corporate, whatever, and live the regular 9 to 5 life. When some people are built for that. And some people are built for that, but they still need the artistic and the creativity. Some people literally don't, but I've found that it will make you unhappy if you suppress that part of yourself and trying to, there's a balance in everything. So they come to me looking for something. They just happen, mutual friend, whatever it be, God, mix their life up, sent them to me because that's what I asked for. And we start working. And I've had a few women, I've worked with one girl from time she was 14, 15 to 18. And because I went to Berklee, her mom brought her to me and was like, I need you to get her into Berklee. And she's graduating this semester. So she definitely did it. She's one of the most talented kids I've ever heard. And then I have a more recent student I've worked with for about 3 years. And she's kind of in that situation where I was talking about, comes from corporate, was missing something. I realized she had some power in her voice, but she just didn't know how to find it. And it takes a minute. Most people come to me like that, where they can sing, but they don't know how to really sing,
Mm-hmm.
And so as soon as you show them their big bark and it comes out of their mouth and they go, oh
Mm-hmm.
my gosh, I did that. Like I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
And then they start, wanting to get in front of people when before they were completely terrified of even stepping in front of people. And then their voices come out and they get to see who they really are and their confidence, like it's crazy.
Yeah.
So that's the coolest part about teaching music with people that want it, is watching them like morph into who they really are and like find that love of music and life.
Where can people like? So where is your? Do you actually teach out of a studio, a physical studio, or how does it work?
Yeah, for right now I teach at Bravo Music Academy in Chesterfield. We're kind of a combined unit of teachers in a building. So I have my own classroom that
Mhm.
I teach out of. But I also do virtual stuff and I have a home studio as well. So it kind of is, I got to work per student and per schedule. But yeah, right now it's toning down because it's about to be summertime. So everyone's taking a break. But
So I mean, if someone wants to like, if someone wants to hire you as an instructor, do they have to? Can they go through you? Do they have to go through Bravo?
yeah,
Um,
you can go directly to my link on my Instagram page or on my Facebook, and there is a book a lesson with me, and it'll just basically be like a little form, who's it for, how old are they, voice, piano, whatever, and then whether you want it in person or virtual, and then I'll contact them and we'll schedule a lesson from there.
Great, cool. For those who are looking for that service, you need to go check out the Musemo. Go on our Instagram, find the link. Um, it does virtual. Does virtual? How does that work?
So I picked that up during the pandemic
Mm-hmm.
because I had to, and so I do it with I mostly piano students now because I feel like it's much easier to teach piano virtually versus vocals. Now I did fully teach vocals when we were all in lockdown, but now all my virtual have they need to come in person. I have to hear your tone. I have to like
Mm-hmm.
feel the vibration in the room sometimes in order to know what to tell you to do or tell
Mm-hmm.
you how to shape your mouth or how to breathe. So it's really hard for me virtually to physically assess you as you're singing to in order to help you do something better or different. Doesn't mean I still don't do it. Some people like are really tired one night or like busy with work and be like, hey, can I do my lesson from home today? And I'll be like, yeah, whatever. And then we'll do our little 30-minute just like this. I do say it's better to have headphones when you're
Mm-hmm.
doing that, but other than that, we make it work as long as it's not completely consistent. Piano though, I don't care. I can teach piano from anywhere. That's easy. That's
Do you
fine.
teach? Do you teach any other instrument?
So I was a percussionist first, hand drums, and my dad is a kit drummer. So I used to offer percussion, djembe, conga technique. But I really don't have much for that, and we have a bunch of other drum teachers around. So right now, like I said, I mainly do voice and piano, but I just started doing production, which has been really cool because I've been working with like 16-year-olds and younger, and to watch them, I've had a 9-year-old make a Christmas song, and she wrote this whole I showed her how to use some samples, and she was sort of understanding it enough, to make it work. But the 16-year-old is now sitting in the driver's seat, and he is using Logic and creating his own songs and production. And he can play any instrument as well live. So I knew he would be a good producer because he can get on anything and play it. So it's really cool to watch the next generation, because sometimes with AI and the technology and everything, you just get really down about it. And
Yeah.
there are some beautiful beings of creativity that are young and that will keep that part alive. I do believe.
Yeah. Yeah. How did you get the name Mo?
So I started playing when I was like 15 years old professionally. I started getting paid for it when I was 15. And I used to go by like the Taylor Swift vibe, Morgan Elizabeth. That was my thing. And then I had another duo back in the day called Fillmore Duo, and everyone knew me as Morgan then. And so when that broke up, and COVID happened at the same time, I just decided I needed a refresh. And my uncle and a couple of my best friends call me Mo. Nobody else really ever called me Mo. So I had to kind of force it on people at first, because somebody called me Morgie, some people call me Morgana, but no one ever really called me Mo except for like 3 people in my life. And so I just decided it's short, it's sweet, it's neutral, which is what I want. I don't want people to know immediately when they see my name or my emblem what gender I am and what race I am. I just want to be a musical energy. I don't want to be judged immediately, And so I felt like that was a nice neutral Mo.
I think I like that you pointed that out though, because I think that and we'll talk a little bit more about the music, I still have a lot to become familiar with. I mean, I just learned about it not maybe a month ago. So I still got a lot to learn, but I wouldn't just assume that you was white by listening to you.
It's not the first time I've heard that.
Yeah, and I try, and I say that because some of you who are listening may have never heard her before. So you're listening or you're watching this right now, and yes, she's a presenting white woman. She probably is white. I'm assuming you're white, but her voice doesn't come out like, it just doesn't say I'm white. It doesn't say I'm black. It doesn't say anything. It just says that I have a beautiful, it's my voice. And I like that kind of correlates over to the Mo. But, listen, she's a complete stranger to me, okay? I don't know her at all. But I'm in the mental health world, okay? And I think I have a pretty good, like, not that I'm not assessing you, okay? I'm just saying that I think I have a pretty good neck for, like, there's certain things I just pick up on. And even before we started recording and how you kind of just came onto the screen, it was just kind of like, hey, I'm here. There was no like pretenses of anything where I could develop any type of false judgment or any judgment. It's like you just come up on as a person. You just kind of, hey, I'm here. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
try to be as real as possible. I'm not.
Yeah, I picked up on that quickly.
Talker or like I have big problems with small talk. I will be awkward in a second because I'm like here to talk about stuff.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Like, hey, how you doing? I'm good.
So do you fall into any stereotypical artist stuff? Artists sometimes can really be. So there's a lot of stereotypes that can come of artists. Does any of that play on you or not? Because I mean, you're a real artist. You're not just a social media person who all of a sudden started doing something. Like, you're a real artist. You're a skilled artist. You actually play an instrument. You went to school. You went to Berklee, okay?
Yes, I went to Berklee and VCU. Mm-hmm. I have always considered myself a more of a gypsy type of person, and that's partially I blame my parents, because I came up with rock stars. My parents have been in a professional like 80s rock band my entire life. So my mom was always, I was watching her, get ready for gigs. Not that like we had parties all the time, but I was used to being around adults from a very young age, like in that, like having a get together, having a house party kind of thing, going to bed late, So yes, I would say right now I am trying to watch what I speak into the universe. I'm watching my words, but if someone third party were to come and observe my life, I go to bed very late, probably on average 2 a.m. I wake up around 9 or 10 in the morning, very musician like.
Mhm.
I, am being better about being more organized and clean, but in the past I have been a little cluttery and crazy. um, and I just love the good things in life. I love to eat good food and to hang out with friends. And I just have never had a 9 to 5 type of routine in my life. I've always gone with the wind, go
Yeah.
where the wind takes me type of person.
Yeah, I'm a big believer that you're obviously an artist, and I often tell people that everyone was an artist at once upon a time of their life because they was a kid and they used their imagination and they created things, right? But if you're still living and your mind is forward focused, you're still an artist because you're creating life. And how you go about your life every day is really dependent upon you as a person and what choices you choose to make or not make. I'm a big believer in just like scribble it all on the paper, ever how it goes, and leave it to the perception of others to determine what it is. But with you, it's definitely quality. So let's go back a little bit here, okay? You said you started performing professionally at 15, but I'm assuming that you was probably just like growing up in a musical family. You was performing before that. Like, was you making yourself the center of attention for people to come and see you? Or, no, no.
Always. No,
Oh yeah,
always.
you was
I
okay.
meet kids, little kids now, those little like bossy kids, like, no, I want to sing it. Like that was me. I have
That was
like
you.
videos of me standing on the fireplace when my family's like in the living room and I'm like trying to sing Twinkle, Twinkle Little Star, like super loud, and someone's talking. I'm like, be quiet. Like I was such a little bossy brat, but it's I've noticed that now in little kids. I believe those are just the front men. Those are just the people that are the MCs of life, the ones that are not afraid to talk to the whole crowd because they know that they can get everyone's attention, and whatever it is, you just have that ability of speaking to people. And I think that I was surrounded in it. So, you have to argue nature versus nurture. I couldn't get away from it. I was completely immersed in music from the start because my mom is very musical. She's a singer and she manages her band, does all the business and stuff. And so my mom and my dad were in a band when I was born. I was literally like in her tummy while she was performing on the stage with a band that's still around called Premiere. And I play with them sometimes now, which is kind of full circle. And so my dad was a drummer, she was a singer. And then when I was 6, they broke up and remarried musicians. So my stepdad was a bass player and my stepmother was a trained West African djembe player. So I got a whole new path after that. It went
Yeah.
from moms in a band every weekend to me getting to travel the country with my stepmother with her drum circles. And so that's why percussion came first to me, because when I was 6, she gave me my first hand drum, and then I learned my love of rhythm and how rhythm is the heart and the foundation of everything. And I specifically learned West African technique and culture, and that's a lot about honoring your ancestors. Listening to the earth. It's like very spiritual to do that. And I was around these people who a lot of people would make in regular society would make fun of them. There's a lady, her name was Turtle, and she had this long gray hair and she would wear these flowy things and she would just dance around the room. And it was these people who needed to, it was their way of being free. And as a child, I didn't understand that. I just was like, whatever, people are just running around here everywhere. But as I get older and I look back at what a beautiful thing for my stepmother to introduce me to at such a young age, because so many people grow up thinking that's weird. And I just grew up thinking that's what it's like to be free. That's what it's like to love yourself and have no, you don't care what other people are thinking about because you're just honoring God and your body and music. And so I started off there at 6, and became a very good hand drummer when I was young. So then I started playing congos with my mom's band when on the weekends when they were family events. And so then by 5th grade, I was asked to sing with my mom at our graduation. And when I sang with her, they gave me a standing ovation. And I remember after that, I looked at my mom and I said, I want to sing now.
Wow.
Please teach me how to sing. So then that was a struggle because I was a hard-headed girl and my mom was trying to help me how to sing through my teens. And we would fight a little bit, but we sang at every Christmas parade and she got me up on stage. And my first few songs on stage at like 12, 13 were Sweet Child of Mine, Welcome to the Jungle, and Paradise City. Those are what I learned on. And then I made my own band at 13 with a bunch of like 17, 18-year-olds from Richmond. And we played, at Atlee High School, Battle of the Bands. And we had a few private parties. And then by the time I was 15, I taught myself guitar. And so I started playing at my mom's friend. My mom is a professional musician and I had a lot handed to me. I really got it. I am the way I am because of how I was brought up. And there's a lot of really good artists out here that don't go after it until they're 18 plus, and they don't get all that stuff handed to them and they have to learn the hard way. So I will say that I am incredibly blessed because I did have the musical silver spoon handed to me. I was taught everything. I was taught how to drive the U-Haul with the equipment in it. I was taught how to pack the equipment. I was taught how to manage the band. I was taught how to talk to the venue owners, taught how to manage your team. I was taught how to manage the money and how to disperse, so I was just given it and I accepted it. And I luckily did well with it. It was what I was good at. And so still those are the things that I pushed from then on. So played a lot when I was 15. I was, of course, president of the choir. I was in the musicals. And then someone said, try out for Berklee. And I was like, I'm not going to get in Berklee. That's stupid. They were like, the worst thing they're going to say is no, Morgan, just go audition. And I was like, fine. So I went to Baltimore. I messed up my site rating. I was crying the whole way home. And on December, I got an early notification that I got in with a $5,000 semester scholarship. So I went there for 4 semesters, and then the city was a little too much for little old Mo from the country. And I came back to VCU, and I've been here ever since. I finished my degree there. I started teaching at Sam Ash. I worked at School of Rock, taught privately, and now I'm at Bravo. It's been 10 years that I've been doing this since I came back home in 2013 from Boston. And I have had duos. That was a very successful duo for 6 years. I had a band, Roxbury, was good for about a year. And I have a band now called The Collective. I've just met so many people now that I just kind of make myself the foundation. And then I tell people whatever you want, I got the people for it. I got a team for it. So you just tell me your vision and I will build it for you. I know how to.
So you're about 29 years old.
I'm 30.
30. Yeah. 30.
I'll take 29 though.
You what's the goal for you right now? What's your goal? Like, are you living the dream, or is there something else that you're aspiring to do? Is it, I mean, because you're an artist, obviously you're a performing artist, you're a teacher, but do you have a goal and desire to be known by millions of people in the world, or, what's the goal for you?
I used to dream so much when I was younger, and especially when I went to Berklee, I thought, okay, I'm going to go to Berklee and be famous. I'm not even going to finish. I'm just going to take right off because it's so easy. I think I have definitely It's funny you asked that because it's a question I've been asking myself a lot at 30. You know, they all say your mind shifts at 30, right? You start thinking about
Every 10 years.
Yeah. And I think that I have reached my goal that I used to have. You know, I get down because I'm a perfectionist, like most musicians are, and we want the next. Sometimes I have to stop and be like, I have been living professionally as a musician, having no other jobs for the past 10 years. And some people would kill for that. Some
Yeah.
people really want that life to be able to just create, write, teach 24/7. That's what I do. But I'm feeling very tired recently. And I'm trying not to speak that because I know that I'm not actually tired. I think that my mom told me the other day, she said, I think you've reached your goal, Morgan. I think it's time for you to level up again. And so I've been thinking, what does that mean for me? What is leveling up? And so I think that I've just been so sucked into using my creativity to pay my bills that that's my next goal for me. Is to not necessarily become famous or known by millions of people. Like I know what God wants me to do, and I know that He's given me the gift of music. So I feel like as long as I continually to consistently apply that, you know, to the people without burning myself out, I'm doing my job there by playing live. But what I'm missing is writing. And that's what I started doing when I was a kid. I was a writer when I first started playing guitar. I used to write all these songs, a bunch of country songs, rock songs, you know, pop songs. And my parents would be like, look at my 14-year-old, listen to her song. And they would totally hype me up about it. And then as time went on, and I've done the cover band thing so much and pretty well, I might add. I'm pretty good at being in the cover bands at this point in my life. I love singing other people's music, and that is what has taught me how to be a good musician, is by learning from these greats. But it's time, I think, for me to really push myself to be and truly just an artist, you know, an artist that other people seek out and want to listen to my songs to feel better and stuff. I think
you got it. You got it.
My next goal.
You got it. I mean, yeah, you definitely probably have reached your dream, and so now it's time to create new goals.
Yeah, because you know, people think there's only one road in music. It's just to go get famous, and it's not true. There's so many fabulous, fantastic musicians that live under the radar right here in Richmond that do music all the time. You know,
there's a lot of crumbs in the loaf of bread. It really is. I mean, it's just a matter of the bite you take, and so all you have to do is decide, you know, if you want to take off a different chunk, you know, like maybe you've been eating wheat bread all your life. Maybe it's time to go eat rye.
That's what I'm saying. You know? That's what I'm saying. I really have to eat.
Push your pen. Go push your pen. Can you rap? Because I have a lot of rappers on my show. Can you rap?
I rap a little bit of Lauryn Hill and maybe some Jay-Z on Drunken Love, you know, but nothing serious.
Got you.
My friends tell me no.
Do you smoke?
Not cigarettes.
And the reason I'm asking that is because there's like being in that tobacco space. I'm just or hookah. I'm wondering, like, does that like how much do you take care of your voice? Like, do you have to?
Yeah, it's starting to affect me. I really looked at it yesterday, and I've officially been there for 7 months for twice a week.
Yeah, that's a lot of cigar. That's a lot of secondhand smoke.
Very dry. It feels like some nights are better than others. Sometimes if my allergies are weird or my, you know, because your voice is just really dependent on how hydrated your body is.
Yeah.
Not how awake you are, how much energy you have. And so, yeah, there's sometimes, especially when people sit at those two tables, like right there, you know, beside the piano, I have people like, and it's like, in my face, and I'm like, I'm taking pretty big gasps of breath when I'm singing too. So I feel like I love the cigar bars, but I might just need to take a tiny little break to recoup.
I'm sorry, Mona. Sorry, Mona. Sorry, we apologize.
I am there tonight, though.
Now I definitely am a fan now, and I want to see you perform. I'm very interested in seeing you perform. Where can people who are listening go hear your music? Your music.
I'm on all mainstream platforms. I always first push Spotify and then iTunes. On Spotify, I have a playlist because I have a few featured songs with some other artists out here, and that doesn't fall under my name all the time. So I've made like a little playlist if you go to my name, and it'll show you all the stuff that I've done on there.
Did they go to Morgan Stanley? Hold on. I'm sorry. I said Morgan Stanley.
Yeah, that's so funny though.
That's not
Or
more.
you
Sorry,
can call
Morgan
me
Stewart.
Morgan Stanley. I wish I had as much money.
Do they go to Morgan Stewart, or do they go like how do you identify?
So I made the mistake of choosing like the worst name to search on Spotify. So you can do one of two things. You can search Conditional Mo, because that's my song, Conditional. And if you type in Conditional and Mo, it will pop up. But you can also just click on that link again in my Instagram or Facebook, and that takes you to my link tree. And my link tree has got all of it on there. It's got my website, iTunes, Spotify. I've got YouTube videos. I got a TikTok, and then any type of, booking, lessons. I do have a music video for Conditional too. And so all of that is on that link tree, which is under the link on my Instagram in my bio.
I'm looking you up right now on.
I'm also redoing my website right now, so that'll be really dope too. So.
Sorry, that's not Conditional Mo. I'm looking for you though. I'm gonna find you. Conditional Mo.
Conditional Mo. Yeah, doesn't that pop up?
I'm gonna find it.
Like Conditional space Mo.
Okay. So Mo, I like to ask my guests random questions sometimes.
Okay.
Like impulsive, I don't think, like just random questions, just kind of help people particularly people who are familiar with you. Like maybe I'm gonna ask something that they're not, I didn't know that, just random stuff to kind of find out who the person is behind the person that you're artist, but who's the person,
Yeah.
So do you like chicken or fish?
Do
you like either? Do you like both? I mean, do you like one better than the other?
Both, but if I'm gonna rate, I probably eat chicken more than fish. But
fried, grilled, baked, barbecue, fried.
Okay. I do like grilled things though.
Okay.
Grilled salmon and some wooden planks.
Gotcha. Okay. When you was young Mo, younger, you're still young, but
Thanks.
Younger. Who was your celebrity childhood crush?
Oh, I'm pretty sure it was either oh shoot, what is his name? The wolf boy from Twilight or whatever.
I don't know. I'm off. The wolf boy.
Definitely I was a little too old for it, but the oldest of the Jonas brothers, Joe Jonas, I had a poster of him on my wall. Okay. And Johnny Depp. I've always been obsessed with Johnny Depp.
Did you go to Something in the Water?
No, I didn't. Didn't.
They was there, I think, right? I think they were there.
Johnny Depp?
The Jonas Brothers.
Oh, the Jonas Brothers. Yeah. I don't care about him anymore, but when I was a kid, I was all about Joe Jonas, man.
You know who I liked when I was a kid, and this wasn't my crush. Was just a boy group that I liked, and I catch major hell for this group. I catch major hell for this group. I was like the biggest New Kids on the Block fan ever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was.
Is that not cool? So like
it's not. When people try to say how not cool that was, I'm like, listen, Maurice Starr found him. He also found New Edition. Okay, it was just it's like, what's the problem here? It's like, I don't know. It's almost like as a black kid, I wasn't allowed to like all white boy group, I guess. And don't get me, it wasn't that I didn't like.
They were corny.
I don't know what it was. It's not like I'm comfortable in who I am, but I like New Kids on the Block, and I still do. I even went to their like. I remember when they came to Richmond for like something. It was like I was there. Okay, I still know their song. I know all their songs, but anyway.
I believe each artist has a specific group of people that are meant for them, and not everyone is gonna understand that or like that artist. But that artist is just there for the people that feel that energy that they're putting.
Yeah,
out,
it was.
Felt that New Kids on the Block.
So when you're performing, do you see the crowd?
Most of the time,
You
yeah. I
do?
mean, unless I'm in my big band where we have all of our lights and stuff up, then,
Mm-hmm.
and even then, I'm still like
Mm-hmm.
leaning over the
Mm-hmm.
leaning over the stage trying to look at him. I think that's a part of it. You have to make eye contact
Yeah.
with people.
Yep. Because you didn't know I was there.
I did not. I did not. Now Mona is a different story. Sometimes I feel like, pop a quarter in me and choose A1. I'm like a personal jukebox. So I have a problem sometimes with like zoning out when I'm playing there.
Yeah.
Especially if you said like there was nobody there.
There was nobody there. There was
I was
nobody there.
probably just
I mean,
playing.
there was four people at our table, and there was probably two or three people at the bar, and that was it. It was nobody there. It
Which is
wasn't.
fine. I've gotten, some people be butthurt about that, but I have learned again. I asked him to send who's supposed to be there. And if it's one person, then that's who I'm playing
Yeah,
for.
the people who listen, the people who I'm a believer that the people who are supposed to see you, hear you, and know you are always going to know you, and I just knew that once I got in the car, I was like, let me keep listening. Like this person is good,
Thank
and
you.
I was excited. So um kind of reminds me, I was my last interview was with a lady, her name was Sonia Shelton.
Mm.
uh, and she made the comment that fish can't see their own water. And I was like, I never thought about it like that. I never, I imagine being on the stage and you're performing, but you can't really see, you don't see anything but what you, well, maybe that's not the best example. That's probably not the best example because the fish example was fish are just existing and they don't know that they're in water.
Right. I
They don't
think
know that.
sometimes it's like that. Like
Yeah.
depending on the stage and how big of the stage, more so the bigger the stage you are, the more it's like that. The smaller and the more intimate the audience, the more you see exactly who is there. Sometimes you're having full on conversations with them in between
Yeah.
songs.
Yeah. Now there was a group of ladies that came in right toward when we were leaving, and I think they knew you. They were probably fans. Like they
I
was
have
very
a
much
good group
engaged.
of people that come out
They was
consistently.
regulars, wasn't they?
Yeah, probably.
What time do you perform tonight?
7 to 10.
7 to 10, and that's
Every Tuesday for the most part. There's some days that I can't be there, but I always announce that if I'm not going to be
okay.
there.
Okay.
But pretty much every Tuesday.
It's fair to say music is your first love.
Absolutely.
So is are you the type of person that can allow some artists struggle with having a second love? Like I know a lot of artists that cannot be in relationships successfully because their partner
We're
or
a
their
little
other,
volatile.
huh?
So we're a little volatile
Yeah.
sometimes.
How was that for you? Are you able to find
Um,
balance with that?
I found that it's important to be with someone that's in the industry as well. I have to have another creative. Um, and I have a boyfriend now. We've been together for a little over a year, and we have found a nice rhythm. And he's a DJ, and I obviously am a live musician, and so we both are gone pretty much the same days on the week. Both playing gigs, and we both are very spiritual. We both, our goal is to heal all the people. So yeah, I think that in the past, I never dated anybody like in high school or anything because I grew up in super country, like
Where did you grow up?
Urbana, Virginia.
Urbana?
Yeah, Urbana. It's a
Nope.
little town. They have the Oyster Festival there. If you've ever heard of that, and it's more towards Williamsburg,
Okay.
exit 220. Um,
Okay.
so it's a very, very small, rural, like Mayberry type of place. And I am very deeply rooted there, but me as a person, I've always been a weirdo. Like I've always been different.
Is it like near Gloucester?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
sort of. It's close. It's the
Got
same
you.
vibe as Gloucester.
Got
So
you.
you'll
And
get it.
surprisingly, this is very random, but like I used to live in a place in North Carolina that was like 15 minutes away from Mayberry.
Oh, really?
The real Mayberry. I know all about it. Trust me. I know all about the real Mayberry.
Well, that's just like Urbana, and it's
Yep.
crazy sometimes.
There's an
It's so
artist,
small town.
there's a creative person from Gloucester that I had on my show. Her name is Savvy G. The name sound familiar to you?
It does. Savvy.
She went to she's like in Atlanta, New York now. She used to be a professional dancer in Richmond with like the what's the big, whatever the dance, ballet, whatever it is, you know. And she converted her career over to voice and singing, and now she's definitely on her way. But I say that just because sometimes the best artists and the most creative people come from pretty bland, blank places. And I think a lot of times the reason why that is because, hey, there's nothing else to do but create. It's like,
absolutely,
you
it's
know,
that was my life. I
mm-hmm.
mean, I because I had parents who were musicians, they encouraged me. I always had a practice room. You
Mm-hmm.
know, that was very lucky for me. I always had a room with equipment set up. I had a full drum kit. I had a microphone, and my friends would really love to, let's go sing in the practice room. And they just
Yeah.
wanted to hear themselves on the mic. And so I was very blessed with always being able to have that. And then when I learned how to play guitar and write, I learned that when I had a bad day at school, I would go directly home to my bedroom, grab my guitar, and sit in there until dinner and just write song after song after song. And so, yeah, I think that's definitely gotta have that.
Yeah. Well, Morgan Stewart, not Morgan Stanley. I think I said
Not
that.
Morgan Freeman, not
Not
Morgan
Morgan Freeman.
Stanley, but Morgan Stanley.
You can call her Mo for short. I've really enjoyed you on the show. I am looking forward to diving into your Spotify and getting more familiar with you as an artist. I want to come listen to you sing again. Please help me. Please help us follow you by tagging me in your stuff. Like, I want to see it. I want to see it. And I want to consume more of it because that's who I am. I'm a snob too, to some degree, but you know, like I'm really into the gift that you've been able to provide us. Thank your parents. God bless your parents. And I'm telling you guys, listen. I'm telling you, listen. I know I tell a lot of lies on the show about, oh, this person's dope. This person's dope. All right, listen. We know, I know, but she really is. Okay, like she really is. So you need to go follow the Musemo. That's TheMusemo. Okay. And I'm not gonna lie, until talking to you, I was like, oh, shit, Mo and Muse. I mean, I know what a Muse is, but I didn't put it
It was
together.
hard to find a screen name. And so I was like looking at all these names and I was like the real Mo, but everybody's the real something. So I was like, I
Yeah.
want to be something different. And then
Yeah.
someone called me a muse one time and I was like, what's a muse?
I
And
can
then
see
I
that
looked
though.
it up and I was like,
Because you
oh,
said something, you made the gypsy comment just now. Like,
yes.
you got the hair, you know. You have less makeup on now than some of the
I
things
have
I've
a lot
seen.
less makeup on right now.
Yeah,
But
so
that's
like
okay.
you do kind of have that, you know, that aura about you, kind of. You sit at the piano, you know, like you kind of give off that vibe. So I can see that. I
I'm
can see that.
whimsical.
I bet you probably could do opera music too, couldn't you?
I going to VCU, I had to. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't my favorite, but once I learned how to sing that, my Alicia, Whitney, Jennifer Hudson, all that stuff came right out after I
Yeah.
learned how to sing
What
classical.
about country music? You sing country music?
Absolutely, I
Oh
sing some
God, there you.
Miranda Lambert. I love the oldies though, like Shania and Faith Hill and stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
But
Okay. What about Dolly Parton?
she's great. I
Yeah.
do some Jolene and 9 to 5.
Oh, I know you did the Amy Winehouse song that I like too.
Valerie or
Yes,
yeah,
Valerie, you did Valerie too. I
yeah, but
really
that's
would.
super popular.
I really need to come listen to you tonight. I don't think I can do it, but I need to. I'm excited to listen more. I really am.
I'll go live for you. How about that?
Please
You can
do. Please
tune in
do.
if you'd like to.
Please do. Please do.
Okay.
This is Mo Stewart. You can find her at Musemo, and you can go listen to her on Spotify and everywhere music is played. And this podcast will be played pretty much everywhere podcasts are played except Spotify. I usually don't say that because I don't. No, excuse me. It's on Spotify. It won't be on SoundCloud. I don't know if people go to SoundCloud for podcasts, but
Right.
they don't take my upload, so I'm not dealing with them right now. But you can also go to randywilsonpodcast.com. Mo, if you think of someone that you think would be a good guest for the show, keep in mind and get at me later on in the DM and tell me who, because I'm working on my new round of folks. My next guest is you got some people in mind?
Oh, I got some people.
Please. Only thing I ask is that they're as talented as you.
Oh yeah. I,
Okay,
I have some very talented friends. I
great.
appreciate
Then
that. I think they're more talented than me.
well, put me on. I'm interested. My next guest, I usually don't say this because you know how things happen with scheduling, but Nige Hood, the Nige Hood. He's a Charlotte artist, Nigehood. Go check him out. You're gonna get some Donald Glover vibes. You get some Childish Gambino type of vibe. He's a Charlotte native and doing some incredible things. So y'all make sure y'all stay tuned for that show.
Yeah.
And we're out.
So